Give me that. Give me that. Give me that.
Hi guys, so in this video I will be talking about how to tackle addiction, and this is just my own opinion and from coaching people with addiction and understanding and experiencing my own addictions. I have found a kind of blueprint for myself, and so I just want to share a few little key points and epiphanies. The first thing is understanding that your mind has a way to rationalize, and it'll try and find a way to justify any addiction that you have. And so if you're facing something that you are trying to get rid of, we can't constantly focus on the outcome of it. We have to enjoy the process of recovery. So really it's about noticing your triggers, and what parents can do is really build a trust, such a trust and a support with their children that they really believe you and they really open up to you about their addiction and their problems. And of course you could find an addiction counselor, or you can find ways in which you can find extracurricular activities or hobbies to replace that addiction with something of a similar kind of fashion. And if someone is stopping you from quitting, you should probably just stop hanging out with them and find that it can help you in the long run, and you don't want to end up in rehab just because your friends are all junkies, you know. So understanding that there is a level, of course, some things are just habits and some things are social addictions, and it's important to understand when it is getting too far, and when it is considered an addiction is when you start feeling a craving for something. And of course all of us have like food cravings and things like that, and we sometimes want a little drink of a little bit of tequila nowadays, but understand that when it gets to a level where it's functioning, it's not functioning is what I meant to say, is when it gets to a point where it's unhealthy to the relationships around you, when it's affecting your health, when it's affecting your mental state, and when it is affecting your social life, then it really is becoming a problem and an issue. And so I just want to share a few things in this video. I hope you enjoy it, and let's go. In modern culture, a parent's job is seen as very simple. It's just like, especially abroad, you hear like, just keep the kid away from drugs, like make sure they're not pregnant. These main things are kind of the basis for what parents base their child success or their kind of safety zone. And so I believe that it's a parent's job to let the child at first explore what it means to be addicted first. What does it mean to them personally? Because a child will formulate a lot of ideas from the society that he's growing up in, from teachers telling him what addiction means. Maybe an addiction center will come and speak to that child based on it. But until a child knows that really it is a negative factor, and I think if you're not an addict yourself, you can't really say what it feels like or what it is exactly. The concept of that, maybe a child has a different addiction. We always think of addiction in terms of like alcohol or drugs or substance use. However, there's addiction nowadays, which is addiction to the internet, addiction to your phones, addiction to validation online, people liking your comments. So figuring out really what does it mean to them at first, and how they understand the process of how people become addicted. So the thing that we need to understand is that there are many people being a role model for other people based on this idea of addiction. Like Russell Brand talks about this a lot, as he wasn't an addict in the past. He's mentioned that it wasn't about him. It was about his need for connection. And when someone is addicted, they need to be aware of this connection. Connection to whatever. Connection to the divine. Connection to something greater. When we get in this sense of boredom, this sense of, it's not even boredom, it's like idleness, that there's nothing happening for me, then people automatically want to reach out and really feel something deeper than they already have felt. And instead of pushing away emotional turmoils and saying that this is too intense for me, to really process them, because unprocessed emotions are what causes a lot of problems. Especially in today's day and age, we want to repress our feelings. And especially men in this day and age, we want to just push it to the side because it's too sad to face and really confront our fears. And so it's important to understand that this kind of connection with people, with others, someone with sex addiction, they just want that connection, that intimacy that they don't get, that they're not giving themselves. I think self-love in this generation is so important, because once we have that deep rootedness, that deep grounding, then we can do things by ourselves and really have that self-momentum and that self-reliance. We're not being pushed into different streams. You are paddling in the direction that you want. That's really what we need to get to, that level of shifting from a frame of really being impulsive over something, but rather saying that I do have the self-regulation, I do have the self-control, and really building it into one's identity and support system. Reaching out to people for support, because we know that there are the negative impacts of something, but we still do it anyway. People know the negative impacts of binge drinking, but they go out every night and they're like, whatever. You know, that's kind of the mentality there. It's that some people could argue that people who started to smoke, they really don't care about the negative consequences that comes with smoking, because they're dependent on the substance for relief, for stress relief. And so when I was a smoker, and I've tried it in the past, I would recognize when I was going through this withdrawal period where I would constantly need this stimulation. I would feel that, but then I noticed that, what is that reminding me? That's reminding me when a person is smoking, really they're needing to inhale, right? And that sense of relief that comes from letting your breath go is what people are craving. But we can do that through meditation. We can do that through imagining that we're seeping from sipping from a straw. And that kind of breath work that people really need to understand, because people aren't breathing enough. The Wim Hof breathing method, where we take all of our breath and release all of it. After you do that like 30 times, you won't feel that nervousness, that hesitation of breathing constantly. Because you were saying that you have, well, what he's stating is that you have control over your cells and control over your body's chemistry, which might be a little far-fetched, but also it's really important to understand that there were scientific studies done with this kind of, he calls himself the Iceman, but his breathing method really sets this boundary that if we do something enough times, it becomes the norm. I mean, that's what it reminds me of. And being in cold water even, we can't suddenly shock our system like that. Like cold showers. People think that having cold showers is beneficial. And it is. I mean, it's showing your immune system that you can handle that coldness, and it's that discomfort. So the theory behind it is that once you have a cold shower in the morning, whatever stressors or anxiety that you face later on in the day, it's physiologically, maybe it can be comparable to that feeling of getting into the shower, feeling that tense energy of like that shock to your body. So really sometimes it is important to go into something, but we have to do it slowly and take slow steps. Maybe the first day you go in and try a cold shower for like just 5 seconds. Just 5 seconds of being in the cold, like quickly turning the shower knob to 5, and then figuring out like, okay, now I know that I can handle that. Now I can slowly turn up the volume knob, as I would say. You turn up the volume knob, and it takes a slow process for change, any kind of change, any kind of transformation. It doesn't happen rapidly, but if you can convince your mind that it's happening rapidly at a healthy rate, if you can go into your neuroprogramming and rewire your brain by listening to subliminals, by putting really positive things in your subconscious brain, then what you are doing is that you are finding a reason to really better yourself. And I think to be the best version of yourself, you first have to have a lot of acceptance to where you are. You can't deny that where you are is like you're fine. I know. There's a paradox in this. You have to realize that ultimately you are powerful already. You have everything that you need at your disposal. When you're by yourself, you're okay. You're still alive. You're here. We're on a spinning rock, aka the earth, and understanding that all the little petty grievances or things that we do don't really match with the bigger picture. That 1% of humans can see a rainbow. Animals can't see the rainbow. We have that privilege. So we know that we can take what we are given and really share our journey with others. And a lot of people on this self-improvement journey will say that, okay, that's really selfish. You're only going about it by looking at yourself. But I think it's more selfish to not share your journey with other people, to not inspire others, because I think people should be automatically inspired by what you're doing. And if you are bringing your full A game into your life every day, no matter what your passion is, what your purpose is, that's something that we have to explore over time. And that's not a very easy thing to do. It's not easy to say, okay, if your dream is to help animals, you need to really figure out what is the feeling associated with that I want to get to. What is the source of that feeling? Maybe it's a sense of belonging. Maybe it's a sense of acceptance. And really realigning and taking those sources and saying to yourself, am I missing this in myself already? Am I giving myself the acceptance? Am I giving myself the belonging? See, usually I have